Hi, it's Miss Deal again. Welcome to part 1 of our Samhain series, where we explore this ancient Celtic celebrations from the Scottish tradition and Irish. Discover its historical evolution, spiritual significance, and parallels in other pagan groups as we transition from summer to winter. Let's start with the name of the holiday. Samhain is the Scottish Gaelic version, spelled Samhuinn. So it's Samhain or Samhain, somewhere between a V and a W. In the Irish Gaelic, it's spelled Samhain, and it's pronounced Samhain. So those of the Wiccan faith adopted a Celtic celebration as part of their holidays and used the Irish sound for their Sabbath. The word should not be anglicized in pronunciation as Samhain or Samhuinn because it's not an English language word, it's Gaelic. And then you avoid marking yourself as a beginner. In Wales, this holiday is called Nos Calan Gaeof. For the Norse, it's called Veternætur. It means winter nights. And in medieval Scandinavia, was celebrated approximately 28 days after the fall equinox, closest to the full moon, marking the start of winter. And on this day, they honor both the deceased and the Alfar, which are elves or sprites. In fact, the ancient dates to celebrate both Norse and Celtic calendars were based off of the moon cycles. Thus, the holiday didn't stay on the same date every year. It was varied. So before we actually get into what the day involves, let's look at some Samhain trivia and historical content. So for Samhain in Irish manuscripts, it frequently references magical significance in Samhain. In their Ulster's cycle, it has several stories where key events occur during Samhain. In their mythological cycle, such as the stories of Wing of Etain or the destruction of Durga's hostel, show that Samhain has supernatural occurrences and highlights in this time of heightened mythic activity. Then they have the collection of lore about place names in Ireland, but it includes references to Samhain as well and emphasizes its importance as a time for assemblies and gatherings at significant sites. The Annals of the Four Masters is primarily a historical chronicle, but it too occasionally references significant events occurring around Samhain, which blends historical and legendary narratives as possible truths. Christian integration and evolution of these traditions. With the rise of Christianity, Samhain evolved into Hallowmas, or All Saints' Day, which commemorated canonized souls. Historical records suggest that by the 4th century, this practice was observed, spreading from Ireland to England, and eventually reaching Rome by the 9th century, as advocated by Pope Gregory IV. The Scots were the last of the Celts to switch over, as they were more hidden people further up. The intertwining of the Celtic beliefs and Christian beliefs is quite interesting. Celtic Christianity was different than the rest of the world. It still fostered this time of year's celebrations with balance, the allure of light and the challenge of the dark. By the 9th century, Christianity began reaching Viking territories and gradually blended with its pre-existing rites as well. By 1000 AD, the church designated November 2nd as All Souls' Day. The Witchcraft Act of 1735, repealed in the 1950s, prohibited the consumption of pork pastries on Halloween. Now, personally, I believe just another ploy written into scripture traditions to eradicate all pagan beliefs, which in all of our mythologies of the sacred swine. I can't prove that, but that's how I feel. So what are the spiritual beliefs then and lore of Samhain night holiday? The main theme of this day is honoring the dead, because the veil between the worlds of the dead and the living is very thin this time of year, according to those who can commune with the dead or spirits. It marks the ending of both the fighting times and the hunting season. Winter is symbolic of the death cycle, with themes of decay and dormancy under the winter blanket of snow. Samhain is symbolizing a between time, the transition time from summer to winter. So often in the mythologies, you will see a mythical battle between the summer gods or kings and the winter kings or gods. The Green Man is a mythical creature that appears in the Arthurian legends, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. The Green Man is used for some Wiccan traditions. Others have the horned god Cernunnos mixed with the Greek Pan. Others have the Oak and Holly Kings battle, and deities like Lle Lau Gofas in the summer, and he battles Gronu in the winter. His name means brilliant light. His middle name means hand, and his last name, Gufus, means skillful. And still, in other traditions, this seasonal gift is represented instead by queens, female chieftains, or goddesses, but not through battling each other. Instead, the female versions are seen as transformations, like with the Kaliak, who morphs into stone or rejuvenates as a youthful maiden in the arrival of spring. Some have 3 aspects to them, because everything was in threes. So originally, the Celts had 3 seasons: summer, winter, and the in-betweens, which would be spring and fall. That together was one maiden goddess. There's always three seems to be 3 throughout the myth. 3 was a very sacred number. You can even see it in Arthurian myths with Lancelot, Guinevere, and Arthur. So since the holiday is associated with honoring the dead, let's talk about what the ancients believed about the afterlife. Let's journey back into the mindset of the ancients as we explore the afterlife beliefs within the Norse and the Celtic traditions. We uncover both unique distinctions and intriguing similarities. The Norse celebrated a dualistic afterlife with realms like Valhalla and Helheim, whereas the Celts embraced a more cyclical journey of reincarnation. The Norse. Valhalla was the hall of Odin, where warriors who died bravely in battle were believed to go to Valhalla. There was always feasting, drinking, women or men, and they would all be preparing for the battle of Ragnarok, which was their end of the world. Helheim, on the other hand, was more of a neutral realm for those who didn't die in battle, and it was overseen by the goddess Hel. Hel is often misunderstood, largely due to later Christianized interpretations of her name. The concept of afterlife in Celtic Norse traditions differs greatly from the Christian hell. Helheim is not a place of punishment. In the original Norse myths, Hel is not depicted as evil at all, like she was written about in a time later. Rather, she held a vital and neutral role in the Norse 9 worlds. Hel maintains balance and order and cares for the souls that come to her. Hel is the daughter of Loki and the giantess Angrboda. This makes her a complex character with a multifaceted nature. There was an understanding of mortality with the Norse people, and death was part of the cycle of life rather than something to be feared or condemned. But unlike the Celts, the Norse emphasis was more on sustaining one's legacy and memory through their deeds and stories rather than a literal reincarnation of the soul. But having said this, some Norse sagas hint at traits or destinies being carried through familial lines, but there is no proof that there was a formal belief in reincarnation. So here, every scholar differs, so you can decipher it for yourself. I myself have 40 years study, so I believe that they were fairly similar, but that's me. For the Celts, reincarnation is where souls become reborn into new forms of life. Usually in the family line, if possible, they returned, and if they wanted to. They believed in, just as in nature, the life and death is also cyclic, so the soul was immortal and can be reborn. There's definitely no evidence in the Celtic mythologies of a place for punishment after death either. Instead, the focus is the journey of the soul through planes of existence. There are many mythological references to a hero or a god's or a person's soul transforming. Some tribes of the Celts envision an afterlife realm called Tirnanog, or land of the young. This is a paradise of eternal youth, beauty, and abundance where disease and death did not exist. Other clans or tribes called it the Celtic Otherworld, a mystical and magical realm that could be connected to the living world and accessed through ancient mounds or during between times, like Samhain, or between land and water, where they met, an in-between kind of magical thing Or you could fall through the stoning stones. Who knew? The Welsh called theirs Annwn, Annwn, spelling Annwn. Wiccans popularized the term Summerland again for the name of their afterlife. Avalon was considered a place between the worlds as well. It means literally Isle of Apples. In the Celtic tales, apples often symbolize the knowledge of the gods and our immortality to live on, as we are part of the universe's powerful energy that bursts all spirits and God's energies on earth and in the other world. In the Christian story of Garden of Eden, apples were changed in symbology. The apple instead is seen here as the forbidden fruit, signifying that knowledge of the God is forbidden and that temptation to know it, of what any priest knows, is a sin. Also, the other world was not somewhere far out there like the Christians' heaven. It exists everywhere. So in other words, the dead were believed to maintain close contact with the living, and festivals like Samhain emphasize this connection, allowing for interactions with our ancestral spirits. Like the Celts, the Norse also honored their ancestors and believed in their influence over the living. Rituals and festivals focused on maintaining strong ties with the deceased. Pagans believe the spirit does not reside with the body when you are passed away, nor do we believe that it's the end of our spirit's journey. We instead host a party of celebration of this life and their birthday on the other side, because they have no gender, no anything. They're back with spirit. And so we celebrate death. So I think this poem by Claire Harner, written in 1934, speaks volumes. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awake in the morning's lush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. So happy birthday, those who have passed away. I think my dad, he died on November 1st exactly. And I was like, wow, Dad, you couldn't have picked a better day. I miss him tremendously, so I honor him. He passed away in 2014. And my cat, Suki, passed away this year, 2024, in May. And my other cat, Ashy, passed away in January 2018. So I honor all of these on this day. And I hope that you honor yours too and get ready for next year's. Maybe you could add some of the traditions that I will talk about in my second part. So thank you for joining me in this first part of my Samhain exploration. As we reflect on the traditions of our ancestors, remember that the connections between past and present give us wisdom to enrich and guide our future paths. As we honor the cycles of life and nature, let's embrace the unique purpose you hold. Your journey is special and meaningful. Never forget how valued you are. Stay strong, continue to flourish, and remember, I am here with you on your path. I got you.